wrapped around your soul with no control. You can't breathe when you're drowning underwater. There's so much water. I'll run, I'll hide. Darkness always clouds my mind. Now look behind. It's moving closer every time. I can't pretend that I have a strong defense. 'Cause darkness, my old friend, you won't get me till that's the end. At the end. Can you feel it wrapped around your soul with no control? You can't breathe when you're drowning underwater. There's so much water. I can't pretend that I have a strong defense. 'Cause darkness, my old friend,
folks? Will Stewart here with another FPL video. How'd you guys do this week? Go ahead and throw in the comments how you guys did. I'm very curious to see. Harry Kane. Is it time to bring him into our teams? We'll see. We will see. Not a bad week. That's good. Not a bad week is good. Let's go over some Kane news as we before we get rolling here. Just kind of go over the latest Twitter news, since this is from the SPURSPECTIVE. If you're not a Spurs fan, I apologize. I don't think I have any FPL followers yet, simply on my FPL prowess. But from the Tottenham stuff, let's just kind of go over the news, because team news and or Tottenham news about transfers and the whatnot will have some some play on that. Here, let's switch cams here just to so you guys can watch along, right? But Harry Kane has accepted to stay at Tottenham also because of positive talks. In case you're missing the top part of that. I can't get the very top one, but due to positive talks between his camp and new Spurs director Paratici, Tottenham has always told Kane and his team that they want Harry as a key part of the present and future project. Let's see how it develops in the next months. This is 1 minute ago from Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano too. Let's see. Hotspur related. This is a site. This is a guy that I follow who sorts other sources. So he kind of collects the information and the data, and I use that for as one of my things that I use to collect news. Says we've reached an agreement 43 minutes ago. We've reached an agreement with Adama Traore for 46 million euro. But the transfer could fall apart. You don't say. The transfer could fall apart. But because we want to do a loan, right? We want to do a loan deal, and with an obligation to buy, Wolves want an immediate purchase. So that old chestnut. Alistair Gold, doing his tweet on everything it is. Cody Mack's in there. Stelios is in there. Let's see. I can't remember if there's anything else specific in the last couple hours. THFC target. Madueke has signed a new 4-year contract with PSV, so he's not coming. Frantic Kesey was due to sign a contract renewal with AC Milan, but after participating in the Olympics, his refusal to now renew is believed to be due to talks with Fabio Paratici over his THFC move. And so Harry Kane is understood to be taken back by the support he received from Tottenham fans away at Wolves last weekend. So yeah, I'm gonna say it right now. Look, I have opinions. I have strong opinions, but Cody Mack was right. Harry Kane did not make a statement before, so that he could walk it back, and he did. Because after everything this summer, all of the different links, this and that and this and that, the away fans at Wolves convinced Harry Kane to stay. But anyway, back to FPL. You guys have any comments about that? We can talk about it for a little bit if anybody's got any comments or anything like that. Just a reminder, as I'm going through this thing, if you have any specific things that you want to get to and I'm not answering them, throw it in a super chat and that'll interrupt me. Also, too, just want to thank all of the people who do support this channel, right? Like all of the stuff that I'm doing here. Even the stream service itself does cost money. So there are lots of people who do support the channel regularly. All of you guys support the channel in one way or the other, whether it be, subscribing to the channel, that's supporting the channel, throwing a like on the video, that's a great support to the channel, throwing a thumbs down on the video. There is one person who gives me a thumbs down regardless of what video I do. Thank you. I appreciate that I'm living in your mind rent free, and you dislike all of my videos, but I appreciate it. And but these are the folks who give to us on a monthly basis, different levels of amounts. Some people more than others, right? You can get in and start supporting the channel for as little as I think it's $4 a month. But the Patreon members are, and if you want to become a Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/THFCRants, Spartan 7 Gaming, Wayne Bonner, Mama Coates, Celery Agent, AG, Koguma, Tony Go, Alex Burleton, Bobspur TV, John N, and Aaron Dove. And then Matt Hayes, and then we have our YouTube members, which you can join YouTube's members, and I'll be putting those links here in the chat here in a minute. Matt Hayes, Tottenham Blog, is a YouTube member. We all know Matt Hayes, and we all love Matt Hayes. Saizes, Danny Kariaku, Wayne Bonner, Dan THFC, Tony Goes, also a YouTube member, as well as Wayne Bonner, and Scott M, who's been coming on the show lately. He was on Mr. K show last night. I'm glad to see you guys out there in the audience starting to come on the shows, right? Our weekly, our pre and post match shows are open. The late night rants, and I know it's at a bad time for some of you guys in the UK, but unfortunately that can't be helped. But it's good to see people in the community out there coming on to the channel, right? Coming on to the channel and starting to get their voices heard online. And there have been several channels that have my channel spurred out of David Harris and We Are Tottenham TV. And it's good to see other channels, spurring out, or other people becoming, seen and heard through this show too. That's great. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good that you've helped people to do something they never thought about doing something before. We've got Eugene at Persuasion TV. Kind of got hit, cut his gums on our programs. Mr. K, while he was in the comments of a lot of shows, our show was one of the first ones that he joined. First, just his voice only, and then you get to see his lovely face. And I think Mr. K's show is fun. It's a good twist. It's different than a lot of my shows, but it's a good one, I think. But yeah. And then so the rest of the people I need to thank there for the Patreon membership is Kieran McDonald. It's another one that kind of he started coming on our late night THFC rant shows, and now he's got his own channel. And I think it's he changed the name of it. And I'm sorry, Kieran, you're gonna be mad at me, but I think it's called Spurs After Dark or something like that, or at least the name of one of his shows is that. And then Tottenham Tantrum is also a channel member. So here shortly, I'll be putting those in the chat once I can get signed into all of my goofiness. But how'd you guys do FPL wise this week? How did you guys do in FPL? Let's see. Sam, welcome to the show. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. He says, considering the game against Wolves, I'm a bit concerned about us holding the ball. In all honesty, at one point, I was happy we were able to keep a clean sheet. Your thoughts? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think holding the ball is a problem for us. I think our attacking, we're not creating a lot of attacking opportunities right now, right? So that's 100% one of the reasons why, we could easily, leave or, start losing the ball. But folks at home, how did your FPL go? Just brought Antonio in for Bamford on fantasy football. That's good. That's probably a good move. I brought Antonio in last week, so it paid off for me. Here in a minute, I'll bring up my page and we'll look at the scores. Benching Antonio to start Tony, dude. I don't know about that. I'd have to when we get into here and we actually look at to see who what their ranking is and like that, and who they're playing their matches. Like, we're gonna do like a game week 2 review of at least my team, talk about it for a bit, and then we'll go into next week's potential players to be looking for, and or what moves I'm gonna make. I think I've already made one move, and it was just to kind of to stop the bleeding a little bit. I didn't have a bad week. Didn't have a good week either. It was another just kind of last week where it was okay. I was above the average. I think I may have gotten a little bit of a small green arrow, or pretty much just stayed the same. I think I dropped in our group a little bit, but you have to remember too that I did take a pretty good hit last week as well. So I think the hit paid for itself. But some of the other people that I had in my team didn't help me out, and Son being one of those players. Mohamed Salah being another one, Bruno Fernandes being another one. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. Like my midfield this week did not help me out. Let's bring that up on screen here, and yeah. So my final points, 58 final points. Average points was 56. I did make 3 transfers, so I took an 8. So I would have had like 60 something else points, but my final points were 58. And the highest points for the game week was 146, man. So somebody else had another almost 150 point week, which is kind of ridiculous. My game week rank was not very good. My overall rank right now, I'm sitting at 2.7 million, which is not good, but it doesn't concern me quite yet. But taking a look at the team here, we've got, Sanchez did get a clean sheet, so that was good. Cresswell, he didn't have a clean sheet, but they did end up winning the match, beating Leicester, like, was it 4-2, I think. And then Samikas, it was a good shout, man. He ended up getting an assist. So bringing up his game week 2 details here. He got an assist and a clean sheet. So some good points from Tsimikas. Need to be watching him to see if Robertson comes back in right away this weekend. But it was a good temporary. So just if you were to say my hit was 8 points, Tsimikas gets 11, right? That means that I get 3 points from that deal right there. Not to mention the other players that I brought in. Only problem is the other players that I brought in, with the exception of Antonio, didn't really help me, right? So if you guys remember last week, I brought in Tsimikas, Fernandez, and Antonio. The Fernandez one was a disappointment. But he's a player that you got to have on your team. Unfortunately, Souček didn't get any attacking returns in that match because they didn't keep a clean sheet. He didn't get any bonuses either. Calvert-Lewin gave me 7 points, gave me a return again this week, which is good. Ivan Toney, they drew 0-0 this past week, and so he didn't give me any points. And then Antonio was 16. The only upsetting part, and I don't know about you guys, but for FPL, for me, one of the most annoying things is when you have points on your bench, right? So going back to my team here, game week 9, Guaita Crystal Palace ended up with 9 points on the bench, right? 9 points on the bench. And then Basuma with 8 points on the bench again, right? So if I had played Basuma in place of Souček, Fernandez, or actually maybe even Toney, because to be honest with you, Ivan Toney's fixture was good, but it wasn't great. It could have had a better week, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. I mean, that's the nature of FPL. But let's take a look at the league here for a second. The THFCRants FPL League. You got, Scoregasm staying at the top. Andre Chan staying at the top with 80 points in the game week. Take a look at his team here in a little bit. So Trent Alexander-Arnold gave him a good return. Obviously, Tsimikas there. He kept him in. Ailing didn't really produce. Salah didn't produce. Fernandez didn't produce. So he had it worse off than me because he captained. He switched around the captains. Rafinha was 7, and then he had Ben Rama in with 12, who kind of saved him. Toney, Antonio, and Ings. So we get a different point up top. Did you use a chip? How's that 80 points? From Trent Alexander-Arnold is a difference. And you didn't take any hits. Yeah. So that's the difference right there. That's the 20-point difference, basically. So my team is very similar. Is similar to his. So it should start producing, different details. It should start producing more and more and more. But he had a good game week rank. Top 30. Top 400,000. That's a great game week rank. If you were to finish in that game week rank every week, you probably end up winning FPL. Overall week, top 100K. All right. So far after game week 2, top 100K. That's great. Adrian Chan, maybe you need to come on here and start doing the show. And yeah, I'll bring yours at reload for sure. Let's see. Go back here. Just kind of go over the rankings. Hayden DeLuke, 2 times 10 plus 1 equals Romero and Son. He's holding still in second place. First 11, Gary Jones moving up in the spots. Maverick FC Dynamic, Tony Go, Stuffed Crust, Kyle Rose. The Honey Badgers, the Spurs take. Spurs 21, all dropping places. Sunshine's Muster Ali rising into place. Stranger Ings holding firm at the number 11 spot. I dropped from 13th to 17th, but it's very close, right? It's very tight here. I have 129, so basically 130 points. And, I could end up being, even at 185, that's only, right? 130, 85, so 55 points. I don't think I could get to first place in one game week unless, unless multiple of these players had a really bad week. But one or two guys, you can move up 20 points difference pretty easily. Yeah, you can absolutely join the league at this point. It's going to kick you to the bottom. But to be honest with you, and like Reload said, he's in 32nd place. So, oh wow, Reload had 91 points this weekend. So, Reload XXX, his game week rank. Top 50K. That was a good pick, Reload. We got Sanchez, Alexander Arnold with 12 points, Reguilon, Shaw, Greenwood coming good with 10, Salah, Fernandez, Rafino, Grealish with 7, 8. Did you play any chips? Captaining Antonio. And all that good stuff. Yeah, and then Tony. You got that Duffy one had to make you mad though, didn't it, Reload? Uh-huh. Playing Shaw over Duffy had to. I had Duffy too after game week 1, and I took him out. He's the guy that I dropped. Yeah, that's the way it works though, right? That's the way it works. But to answer your question, Santo, you can join in. It will drop you to based on your game week 1 and game week 2 scores won't count in the league. But you're definitely welcome to join. And don't think that because if you join this week, like, okay, I would say like after game week 5, there's probably no point in joining, right? Especially if the managers, the FPL managers take yeah, that is life, Reload. I would say after game week 5, if you're joining the league, it's probably a bit too late to really make a push to win, our mini league by the end of the season. But at this point, you can. The league code and the way to join is if you just go on FPL.com and you click join a private league and you put in the league code 14I4M1. But yeah, you can join it. You can join it. But going back to my team here, some other significant mentions. Let's see. And then I actually had Target in. He didn't play at all. So, Cody got moved in. He was the high scoring defender, and I had him in the right position. So that's why it's very important that you want to rank, that you want to make sure that you don't neglect each week moving your bench around, right? Even if you're not making any substitutions, you want to be looking at the fixtures of the people in your bench, unless they're like, bogey players, like they're just, the cheapest possible option that has no chance of starting. So for me, I had over here, you can see I didn't have any green arrows except for in the Spurs family. Along the other YouTube creators, I did have a pretty significant, wouldn't be significant, probably upper 1, upper 2, but it's just a small little mini league that we've got rolling there. And other than that, a little bit of a red arrow. I don't think it was that bad though, because I think that I was sitting at like, I want to say like 2.6 million or maybe 2.5 million. So maybe it dropped 200,000 places, but at that level, at that rank, it's, I'm probably tied with, within 5 points of where I was before. When I go over to the live FPL.net here in a minute, it'll show me what percentage my drop was and all that stuff. But going over to picking team, so moving on to game week 3, I've made one change so far, and it was really kind of a pointless change, to be honest with you. But I went from Souček to Ben Rama, and then I also brought in Mings over Target. So I took another 4-point hit this week. I didn't really need to, because I really didn't need to switch from Ben Rama from Souček. Fixture-wise, like, there was no reason for fixtures to do so. It was simply that Ben Rama is Kieran O'Connell, who's top of the Spurs family one. Spurs family one. Oh, Kieran O'Connell. You are Kieran. Yeah. And well, good job, Kieran. 70 points. That's a good score last week. Yeah, and so for reload and that's kind of a thing. Ben Rama is on smoke right now. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. He's on fire. So that's another reason why I just kind of brought him in. And because he's so highly owned by the top 10K, that so like here, when I go on live FPL.net in a minute, I'll show you guys where it'll show you how template my team is. And like the first week, my team was very differential. That's good towards the end of the game if I'm trying to move up the table. But it's not so good at the beginning, because that means I'm getting my butt kicked if the players that I pick don't do well, right? So moderately template this past week, because I brought in Fernandez and Antonio and Samikas, and then I just added a little bit more to that. And to believe it or not, Mings has actually been performing quite well. It looks like Target this season is not hitting it very hot, but his Tyrone Mings is point totals here for so far this week is, this past week he had 15 points. 0 points against Watford because, they lost -3-2. But maybe a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. But he is starting week in, week out. I'm not going to necessarily assume that he's going to get 2 assists every week. But I think he just looks like a beggar if he's playing and Target isn't. So, yeah, that's why I made that change. I don't know if I'm going to continually have 3 different West Ham players, but West Ham's looking on fire right now, man. I mean, right, popping out Leicester like that, right? Stomping Leicester. They stomped them. Yeah. Andrew Robertson for Liverpool will come back this week or next week. To me, this might be droppable. Yeah, I think so. He did get an assist last week, but I don't think Klopp's necessarily one to do it on form. I mean, we'll have to see. We will have to see what goes on with that particular one, but I'm not 100%. If they had an easier fixture this week, I would say that the Tsimikas is probably locked in. But the fact that it's Chelsea, that may be getting into Klopp's mind to say that if Robertson is fit, that he at least, like Tsimikas may start, but Robertson maybe comes in off the bench, or I don't know what his fitness level is now, but yeah. Tanganga for 4.5. How much money do I have in the bank? Let me see. How much money do I have in the bank here? £0.1 remaining. Couldn't make that move in one. What I could do is I could probably switch from Cody to Tanganga. That might be a good transfer. That might be a good shout. We've had 2 clean sheets in a row. Reguilon would be probably a good look too. Freedom to push up the pitch. I think Reguilon would probably be a better buy. But unfortunately you can't. You can only play a 3-5-2 because you only have 5 midfielders, right? So they only give you 5 options in the midfield, but you could play a 3-5-2. A lot of people play 3-5-2. I either play 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. That's usually what I play. Sometimes there are some times when I have played 4 at the back. I don't think I've ever played 5 at the back, but I have played 4 at the back, and yeah. Yeah, Leeds do have some good fixtures coming up. Rafinha is a good shout, but they do it too. Another reason why. So if you guys notice, Antonio went up in price. Tsimikas went up in price. Fernandez. I did miss the Fernandez price range, but Benrahma, I got in on this one. So this is the only thing about taking your transfers early. So if you take your transfers before on the last day of, so like on Monday, it would have been Monday of this past week, I made my transfer early, right? I just did it. I took it, I took Tsimikas and I brought in out Souček and brought in Benrahma. At the time, Benrahma was 6. So I made £0.1 million just by doing that transfer early. So that is one thing that, like, if you're confident, if you are planning out your transfers in advance, like who you're going to bring in, and it's not just a knee-jerk reaction. My transfers this week were a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. My transfers last week were simply correcting for some of the changes that I made before the first game week that I probably shouldn't have made. But if you're planning them out in advance and you know that you want to bring this guy into your team beforehand, because I tend to look at it during the weekend, seeing how games are playing, start thinking about what transfers I'm going to be making. And if you can get on them early and you fixture-wise they make sense, if you jump on it early, you can end up making money on that transfer. So that's what happened for me. But, fixture-wise, West Ham have really good fixtures. They're playing Crystal Palace this week, Southampton the week after, Manchester United, and then they still have a very good run, right? So they have only one difficult fixture in game week 5, all the way up to game week 10. Even including playing us at their place. And right now, West Ham is looking sharp. Kieran says he was lucky. He had Tsimikas, Benrahma, Antonio Nings from Game Week 1, so got some extra cash now, but used my transfer wild card this week since I had 2 Villa players and wanted Kane. It's okay to use an early wild card now. I mean, if your team was doing well, I don't know if there's a need to use the wild card now. But I mean, if you wanted to bring Kane in, that's cool. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold off on Kane for a while. And that's probably when I'll use my wild card, is to be able to bring in Kane, right? Reorganize my team a bit, to be able to bring in Kane if I want to bring in Kane. But I want to see him. I want to see him play. You know, I want to be confident that the old Kane is back, right? And that's what I want to. That's what I want to do. He says Smika is going to be replaced more and more by Robertson. We'll sell him and cash in the price raise. I mean, but right now he's only gone up 0.1, right? So you won't be cashing it in, because I don't know if people are aware about this, but if they're not their base price, if their price has gone up, when you go to sell them, you lose 0.1. So when you go to transfer them out, you lose 0.1 pounds, right? So like if I were to take Samikas here now and remove him, I didn't get all that money, right? So that's just FYI that you can lose. You don't get all of the money that your transfer. I think you get 50% of it, or something, like 50% of the price range or something like that. Draft Kane in after August, in your honest opinion? Yeah, I think that. Oh yeah. So yeah, you get the 0.1. I still got him on the 0.1. I brought him in earlier enough that I still got that 0.1 on him. But or I got the full 2 points as well, because I've made mine early. I think Fernandez, I missed some of it. His price rate has gone up again, but I think Fernandez is valued higher though. Let's see, forwards. What's his price? Current price now? Fernandez, or midfielders. 12.1. No, I got it. What's up, Chris? Oh, he's talking to AU. Athelstan, Chris, giving each other big ups. Adam Armstrong, opinion, please. Let's see. Where's he at? I have to see his fixtures before I can give you an opinion. I don't see him. Did you spell his name right? Yeah, FPL Robert, you're right. You don't. Yeah, so folks, you don't want to focus on team value a lot. That's very true. You definitely don't want to do that. Adam Armstrong is a great cheap forward option. Big up to you. Why I'm not getting. Adam Armstrong playing for Southampton. You are you bringing Armstrong in, or do you have him in? I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would own him. At least not until game week 8. Okay, so Newcastle. So for next week, if you've got him, keep him. Right, playing against Newcastle. West Ham. He may score, but they're going to lose. Which, I mean, he's a forward, so it's not like you're getting any bonus points or anything like that. But then you got Manchester City, Wolves, Chelsea, right? So I mean, his upcoming fixtures aren't very good. I don't think I would be starting and or captaining any Southampton players, at least up until game week 8. Then after game week 8, I might. But no, I mean, for me, FPL Rubber Ducky, I disagree with you on this one. There are other options at the £6 million price point that are better. And I mean, if you can afford the 6.5, I think Tony has a better run in. His fixtures, Aston Villa, Brighton, Wolves, up until game week 5. I think if you're looking short term, Ivan Toney's better. Then maybe switching to Armstrong, in game week 6, right? Because Ivan Toney has a tough run there. But most likely, what I'll be doing is trying to get in another midfielder and just benching Ivan Toney during his Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea, Leicester, and playing a 3-5-2. Forward wise, let's look. Let's do a draft. Let's see what players I would possibly bring in here. And let's look at that price point. £6 million. I don't know what's 6.3. I mean, right now Dennis is outperforming Armstrong, and he's only £5. So he's already proved he's not good enough in the Premier League. I don't know if he's necessarily proved that. I don't think he's proved he's not good enough. I think it might be that's a good opinion, but I don't think you can prove that he's not good enough for the Premier League or after 2 game weeks. Especially when he looked really good against Arsenal from the eye test perspective. Yeah, he didn't have any shots in the box or take that many shots, but he could have had several assists. But I don't know if it's fair to say that he's proved he's not effective in the Premier League. Dennis, I think if you're looking for somebody who's gonna play week in, week out, and be a bench sitter, I think Emmanuel Dennis is probably a better shout than Armstrong. Another option there is Pookie, but I mean, as we all know, a couple years back, he kind of set the world on fire in FPL, especially for the first half of the season. We were all Pookie fans and stuff like that. He's another one that's at £6 million. Ashley Barnes is another person that you could probably be looking at. that's a little bit cheaper. If you're just looking for bench fodder. I mean, heck, even Cucho, he hasn't get his minutes played here is not that great, but I think Dennis right now is looking at the best bet for forward bench fodder. 5.1. What do you guys think? $5.1 for bench fodder. $5.1 is not a lot to leave on the bench if you have to. More energy, or unless you're gone. I'm thinking, right? I had energy earlier, right? Right? But now we're having a talk, so I'm trying to think. Marcelo just gets to come on and rant and rave, but Tommy G, I appreciate that. But if you feel like you gotta leave, you gotta leave. I mean, yeah. But anyway, folks, anybody else have any questions and or concerns that we want to address and or answer? And we can bring that up. We can bring those up. Go ahead and throw your question in the chat. Sure, Sarr is the best option for the midfield. Yeah, but he's a midfielder. He's not a forward. Yeah, that's what I agree. That's probably what I'll end up doing. I may bring in Kane at some point. Last season I had Salah, Fernandez, Son, and Kane. Because in the first couple of weeks when prices... So what people don't know is the only time that I pay attention to price is in probably the first 5 or 6 game weeks. I really start paying close to price, especially if they're players that I know they can benefit my team, because prices change the most and the fastest in the first 10 game weeks of the season. So that's the only time that I really pay attention to price, because when you do, you can build your team up, right? You can take... That's how I finished top 250K last season. I had Son, Kane the whole season, Fernandez, Salah, and then another like a 7 million to 8 million pound midfielder, Calvert-Lewin, Bamford, Kane. So if you manage your money well and you can take advantage of those price jumps early, right? Early, and not have yourself fall too far behind, right? If you can stay within a reachable distance, it can benefit you. So it's the only time that I think that right now is the only time when I think you should be looking at price drops, especially if you have players that you know you want to transfer out, and you know that they're injured, and you know a lot of guys are going to transfer them out, and their price is going to drop. Get them out. Get them out. Get them out. Later on in the season, it's definitely not something that you need to worry about, but especially in the first 10 game weeks, it's something that you need to keep in the back of your mind, right? You need to consider it. But yeah, let's see. Picked Willock in the mid for 6 million. He plays up front for Newcastle alongside Wilson, and can see him doing well again this season. Yeah, Willock is a good shout. Willock had some good points. Tommy G's cool. Tommy G's a regular on the channel. I just don't know if he's watched one of these shows before. He maybe has. Let's see. Yes, well, that's what I think should have happened with Dele Alli and Harry Kane after the Champions League final. That was the time to sell them on. Sure, I guess. Is it time for Tony to go? That's a good question. See, there you go, Milo. That's a good question. Is it time to start getting rid of Mr. Ivan Toney? Bring up his fixtures here again, and we can try and talk about this one a little bit. Let's see. Aston Villa, Brighton, Wolves. If you don't want to, you don't have to, I don't think, because Aston Villa is not looking very sharp right now, especially defensively. So I don't think he's necessarily someone you have to move on right now. I'm not moving him on this week, and I'm probably definitely not, unless I need the position or I need the cash. I probably won't be looking to move Ivan Toney out or even bench him until game week 6. To be fair, but I mean, definitely game week 6 is Ivan Toney's going to go. He's either going to go or he's going to be benched, right? 6.5. That is a little bit of money to be leaving on the bench. So that may be a time when I switch down to Willock or something. Or let's see, transfers. So who would I bring in for Tony? I'll probably be looking at Emmanuel Dennis, to be honest with you. 65 minutes, 90 minutes. So it's kind of obvious that he's locked on. 12 points in his first game, 2 points in his second game. Because they lost 2-0 at Brighton, but for a week in, week out starter, I mean, he's already got a 0.1 increase based on his first week. The fact that he got 12 points. £5 million is something that I could feel comfortable leaving on the bench. So normally what I do is I tend to spread it out in the first couple of weeks, and I have probably more money on my bench than I should. I do that for two or three reasons. I usually tend to do an earlier wild card than most people. I tend to use my wild card within the first 10 game weeks. And so when I go and I reorganize that, it kind of holds the money in hoping that maybe one of the two guys. I tend to pick. It's kind of like during the double game week period, right? There's 2 times when I organize my bench to have starters on the bench. At the beginning of FPL, I try to have starters on the bench because I don't really know who's going to be on form yet. Right. I mean, you have some options like, your regulars, your Salas, your Fernandez, your Sons. But it's not really, you don't really know who's going to be on form, who's going to be the new heavy hitter or the new, cheap option. And then once that's kind of established after game week 5 or so, that's when I tend to, game week 5, game week 6, I'll use a wild card, bring in some people, reorganize, get most of that money off my bench. All right. to where that I have minimums, right? I won't have a week in, week out goalkeeper, because now that we kind of know after 4 or 5 game weeks, we know who's starting week in and week out primarily, right? Unless there's an injury or something like that, and we know who's better in form. My team will become a little bit more, you know, I guess just say more common or whatnot, but and then once we get into the double game week season, then I'll also start bringing on players who start week in and week out for my bench, so that I can bench boost at least for that 1 week. If I'm doing that right. But yeah, I'm probably looking to bring in Dennis around game week 5 or whenever I do my wild card. Seems like a good option right now for the money. 5.1 is an acceptable amount to leave on the bench. I could bring in, none of these guys are playing. So for what? An extra 0.6, I can get someone who's actually playing. I think it's worth it, in my opinion. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it, guys. That's probably what I'll be doing. Let me pull over to FPL.net and we'll kind of look at what they say there. Let's bring that back up. Team overall, 50 points. That's what got me a little bit of a drop. But looking at like what players hurt my rank, Shaw didn't really hurt me because he only scored 4 points, so that's good. Diaz did get 11 points, so not having him in my team. Trent Alexander-Arnold killed my rank. These are the 2 players that kind of kill my rank. Danny Ings over. I had Calvert-Lewin at 7, Lukaku 8. So I didn't really get hurt by any of my forward choices. The midfield choices, Ben Rama probably hurt me. Well, actually, to be honest with you, all these guys hurt me because most of my midfielders blanked this week, right? So the 2 things that really kind of hurt my score was the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold and Diaz both had double-digit hauls, and my midfield pretty much blanked. Such is life in FPL, and that's what you do. You don't want to get too crazy moving things around. See how template my team is. So I'm moderately template, so 70%. That's kind of like where I like to sit. I could get super template and just copy, all the top players are. But I think that there are players here who can help my rank, right? So I got Sanchez here. That's going to be able to help my rank. Cresswell had a good double-digit haul last week, so I mean, there's no reason to pull him out, right? I mean, defenders don't get points. Souček got 7 or 8 points last week, but nothing this week. Souček's not a bad option, and to be honest with you, I really didn't need to take him out. I didn't really need to. So I did jump on the Ben Rama hype train a little bit. I did. I jumped on it a little bit. That's okay. Solid blanking hurt. Calvert-Lewin, right? 7-point haul. Not much different. Bringing in Antonio was a great move, though. Bringing in Antonio and bringing in Samika saved my game week, to be honest with you. So, was the 8 points hit worth it last week? Yeah, it was. It was worth it. It was okay. I'm okay with it. If I hadn't I'm not sure that I would have gotten the same, even gotten the points that I got this week, right? So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. The only thing that would necessarily cause me to, man, I wish I would have, would be to have played Basuma for Tony and not had an extra 6 points. But nothing you could do about that. Nothing you could do about that. And then those were the important matches for my team. So main threats to your rank, what are the players that you should be looking at to bring in? They're going to cause me, that they have effective points against me. Trent Alexander-Arnold cost me 4 points. Not having Danny Ings effectively cost me 3. Diaz 2, Shaw, Martinez, Grealish, Mount, Jota, Rafinha, Ben Rama. And this is one of the things, like if you look at their effective, it's not super high, but I'm always bringing in players. Not that I use this list as a you must do, but these are the players that I should be thinking about, right? This list of players are players that I don't have, that other managers do have. And while you don't want to pay a lot of attention to effective ownership, it is something that you do have to consider. And if you're just being stubborn and you're not bringing a player in who's flying and his price is going up and up and people are buying him, you've got to be able to be a little bit flexible here. And this list here on livefpl.net is one that does help. All right? It helps. And then moving over to the live league section, kind of looking at that. See who played what here. So it looks like Maverick transferred out Gundogan to Buendia. Spurs take Sancho to Son. Havertz to Pogba. I don't know if that was a good move. Beltman to Tanganga. Okay, that one paid out. We got Cresswell to Tanganga. That one paid out. Gundogan to Ben Rama. That one paid off. The transfer. Vardy to Ings. Kind of a wash, wasn't it? Vardy to Antonio. These are my transfers here. Gundogan to Fernandez and Dunk to Smikas. And then other people. Royce, man. What happened? You got a wild card. You really picked your whole team. Cost yourself 20 points, bud. DM me on Twitter before you do that. And then I don't know what was going on there, Thor. But yeah. Ownership and captain choices. So let's see. So people who captained Antonio this week really kind of made out like a bandit, right? They made out like a bandit. He ended up being the best captain choice for the week. Pretty sure. Oh. Reece James would have gotten you a little bit more if you had Captain James. I don't know if anybody was going to think about captaining James, though, to be honest with you. Yeah. So if you did captain Antonio this week, you had it spot on. I wish I would have captained Antonio. I don't need to do that again. I can just hit one. That's how the different captain points rolled out. It was all good. Back to my team. Picking my team for this week. Looking at fixture list here. Presswell and West Ham against Crystal Palace. Hopefully we do. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble, my friend. But Crystal Palace here for the West Ham folks. I'm telling you, West Ham has started off with some good fixtures, but they've also looked really good in form too. They've been racking up points. I was a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, about if I was going to have, why do I have why do I have triple West Ham? Why am I tripling West Ham? So far, it's been great. But I mean, Antonio's an absolute legend in the FPL world, right? So you can't not have him in your team, especially for his price. $7.7 price has gone up. He is a boss. So what is my overall team value? Yeah, see, 1 million.4. I've made 0.4 already. Rolling in the bank, rolling in the cash. So you get from early transfers. You know you're going to make them. Do it. Right? Waiting till deadline day is probably the best thing, but especially early, if you know the price is going to fluctuate and it's the transfer you know you need to make or that you want to make or that you've planned to make, do it. Do it early. Do it early. Get that cash. Because down the road, it'll allow you to have more heavy hitters than what the competition can bring in, right? Allows you to have more heavy hitters. But who am I going to play? Who am I going to captain this week? Definitely not going to captain Salah against Chelsea. You know what? I think I'm going to, for right now, I think I'm going to make Antonio captain. I think Antonio, what do you guys think? Antonio versus Crystal Palace, is that a better, easier fixture than Fernandez against Wolves? What do you think, Jerry? Son at Watford, Antonio at Crystal Palace, or Fernandez at Wolves? If Son plays, you should captain him. Yeah, Son's definitely going to be a shout. Like I would say that Son's definitely in the back of my mind. But the way that Antonio and the way that West Ham are playing right now, so that's the Son. I think it's between Son and Antonio right now for me. Yeah, Jerry, I would agree with you. See, Jerry says, based on his form and matchup, I think Antonio. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man. But that's the problem with Son, though, is that Son's the kind of player that when you go into a match like this, you don't captain him, and then he comes out and he scores 4. Right? I mean, that's how it always works. Captain Son. Problem is, Son's showing a little bit of an injury. We don't know if he'll start. Right now, I'm not getting any triangles. So right now, FPL is saying he's fit. We'll have to wait till later on in the week. That's exactly right, Jerry. You doubt Sonny and he punishes us. I've told the story before, but last year when Son got that little bit of a knock and injury, and Jose Mourinho said he wasn't going to play in the press conference, and then he ends up starting on the weekend and scoring 4 goals. Yeah, I transferred him out that week. Almost cried. But no, the captain choice, I usually wait till deadline day before I lock in that captain's choice. I listen to videos across the YouTube sphere, kind of make a different, choice and or selection. And but yeah, right now I'm sitting on. I think my team is looking fairly good fixture wise. Tsimikas against Chelsea bothers me. I mean, that might be one that I look to bench. I don't think that, you never know. You never know, right? Like, it could end up being a 0-0 draw, right? Chelsea-Liverpool could end up being a 0-0 draw. And Tsimikas, if he plays, could be a flat 6-pointer. Mr. Nick said he did the same thing. Who do you put the captain on between Antonio and Bruno? Keep in mind that I own Ben Rama as well. Look, I think Crystal Palace is an easier fixture, and the form that Antonio's been on has been pretty spectacular. I mean, West Ham, they've been playing well. Look, I think you gotta kind of put it on. You got to kind of put it on Antonio, to be honest. Ben Rama's not a bad shot as well, but I think Antonio has a higher opportunity to score goals. But yeah. The only question that makes me nervous here too is like, should I play Tsimikas this week against Chelsea, or do I throw in like Lowton or something like that? Cody obviously isn't somebody who I would play. Aston Villa, there's no real reason up top. Sumo over Everton. Is Brighton going to score a lot of goals in Everton? Are they going to get a clean sheet there? Am I going to get a points for that for Basuma? And I don't have any players in my midfield who necessarily... everybody who's on the pitch right now, attacking-wise, has a better fixture than Basuma. So there's no real need for me to bring him in. But yeah. This is all subjective. For me, I just like to have fun thinking about it for myself. I try not to go in. I don't want you guys to copy me. I don't want you guys to do what I do. I want for us to discuss about different topics. Think about the things that I said, the principles of the matter, and make your own choices, right? I'm not here to give you necessarily advice on what you should do. I can only give you advice on what I would do. And you've got to make that choice for yourself. But yeah, that's a nice little change. If I had Ailing on the bench, I would do that as well. But for me, I didn't have Ailing. I think I had him in like a couple of my first drafts. But yeah. Anyway, folks, if there's no more questions, we're going to go ahead and roll off this thing. I've got some work to do in my real job. But if you guys have any more questions, I do have another 10 minutes here. If not, we'll go ahead and start, closing out or doing anything like that. Anyway, let me know. Throw a comment in this video after the fact. Throw it in the comment here. If you have any questions, you can hit me up at Twitter. It's at WillStewart, or just search THFCRants on Twitter, and I should pop up there. If you have any questions, hit me up in the DMs. or just at me at WillStewa, and I'll do my best to answer the question, or throw a comment in the video below in here after the fact, and all that good stuff. It's good. I think my team is fairly solid too. Is it the best team? Is it the greatest team? No. There are better teams out there. Should it keep me close enough to get what I do till I want a wild card and really start making a push up the table? Yeah. Let's see. Made these transfers today. Tony for Emmanuel Dennis. Okay. Brownhill to Ben Rama. What do you think? I think those are good moves. I think those are good moves. I think those are good. Those are decent moves. Emmanuel Dennis. Doesn't he play for Watford, not Wolves? Isn't that the guy we just looked at? But anyway. Ron Kumar says he plans to use his wild card in 5 rounds. It's dumb to use 4 points this and next round on transfers, since I will always change it all later. Yeah, but those 4 points, like, I think that my 4 points gave me points last week, to be honest with you, based on what my previous team was. If you're moving up in points, taking a hit isn't bad, right? If you're confident that taking that hit will gain you what you lost and more, take the hit. Take the hit. You know what I mean? No point if you're going to lose 4 to gain 10, take the hit. Right? Because then you've gained 6. You know what I mean? Don't let the hit scare you. Don't let the hit scare you. Right? Don't go out and take a 20 point hit, because you're not going to get 20 points in return. You're currently at 192nd total. So took a hit for the greater gains. Your overall rank is 192, Jerry? That's sweet. Oh, your total points, 192 total points. That's a high score, Jerry. That's high. Yeah, you got points to spare. At 192, you're probably sitting up close to that. Gotcha. Total points. That's a good total point score. I take that over 2 weeks, averaging, 90 points a match. 100 one week and 90 the other week. That's a great start. But yeah. Jerry, no chips used. I don't know. Did you use any chips? That's what they're asking you, if you've used any chips. What is that? What's going on here? Where'd it go? Hello? Sorry, guys. I'm having a little bit of an issue here, but Anyway, guys, if you want to go ahead and remember that we do have a show coming up tomorrow, my Q&A show, if I'm available, if work doesn't get in the way. Last week work got in the way, so we do have the Q&A show tomorrow, and yeah, I will let you guys know. Other than that, we're gonna go ahead and call it today. If you would like to become a member of the channel and help support it, you can do so by clicking this link here. If you don't like giving money to Google and you'd rather give more of your support to the channel, there's also our Patreon page here. And if you just want to, buy some funny meme t-shirts and get something for your thing other than just, a donation, we do have a merch store there where you can get cool FPL stuff. Anyway, folks, it's always been fun. We'll see you tomorrow. Get all your other Spurs news. Hopefully we make some signings before the weekends. Hopefully you guys all do well in FPL. And stay strong. Stay Spurs. And we'll see you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go now.